If you've been following for a while, you know we love to get lost in stories from all over the world. They remind us that the best lessons are often disguised as entertainment. That's why our site is packed with thousands of stories just like this one, all picked for their wisdom and timeless lessons. We hope you find your next favorite story and a little wisdom to take home. And now, without further ado, Is That So? A story about holding your center. Have you ever met someone whose calm seemed almost forced? In a world that's always speeding up, that's what it feels like. The hardest thing we can do is be still. Why? Because we fear the silence. Silence reveals how alone we are. It exposes the space within us, and in that vacuum, we can panic. That's why we fill our lives with noise, distractions, the chatter of others. That's why we hate pauses in conversations. But we also fear the opposite, being misunderstood. To be truly seen is scary. Our mistakes, our struggles, our inadequacies come forward. We feel exposed and vulnerable. So today's story, Is That So? Is an antidote to these fears. It's a story about how holding on to your center, your version of truth, can be the loudest thing you can do. The story starts with Hakuin, a Zen teacher who liked living simply. He swept his own floor, mended his own robes, and didn't seek out many followers. Yet people found him anyway. Some called him wise, others odd, but he didn't care what people thought. He just bowed to the day and did his work. One day, a young girl living in the same town got into trouble. People started whispering about her swollen belly. She couldn't take the whispers anymore, so she blurted out the name of her secret admirer. Her parents rushed to his door ready to burst. Other townsfolk joined them, throwing accusations. "You made her pregnant and now you won't admit it," they shouted. Hakuin listened patiently. He didn't defend himself. Instead, when they finished their accusations, he calmly asked, "Is that so?" The whole town turned against him in an instant. People stopped inviting him places. Their smiles vanished from their faces. Gifts disappeared from his doorstep. Once close friends became strangers overnight. He became an outcast in the place he'd lived his whole life. But Hakuin didn't complain or get angry. He simply kept doing his work. He rose with the sun, meditated, cooked, swept his floors. When people glared at him, he bowed. When they ignored him, he didn't chase after them. When they gossiped, he didn't join their urgency. Day after day, he kept doing his work, letting the town's anger run its course. Months passed. The baby was born, and one morning, the girl's parents showed up again. They handed the swaddled child to Hakani without a word and left. "Take care of him," they said silently. "He's your responsibility now." Hakuin accepted the baby without arguing or complaining. He simply said, "Is that so?" and went inside. Life changed completely. Hakuin had to adjust to the cries of a hungry baby and the quiet joy of a full belly. He warmed milk, washed tiny clothes, and hummed softly as he worked. He didn't sing songs, but the water in the kettle sang for him. He woke during the night when the baby fussed and sat in meditation as the sun rose. The child slept soundly against his chest, as if the beat of Hakuin's heart was a lullaby. As the months went on, the baby grew, and Hakuin's neighbors watched with a mixture of confusion and curiosity. Some softened and some hardened their stance on Hakuin, but a few breathed a sigh of relief. Suddenly Hakuin's calm didn't seem forced. His quiet confidence was reassuring. People started bringing gifts to his doorstep again. Word spread, easing their harsh judgments. Then one spring morning, the girl appeared at his door. Her eyes were red from crying. Behind her stood her parents. "I lied," she whispered. "I was scared. I gave them your name to protect myself. I am sorry." The silence stretched, heavy with the weight of everyone's expectations. The world, which had been so loud before, waited to see if it needed to keep shouting. But Hakuin didn't scold her. He didn't demand apologies. He simply went to the mat where the child was playing. He picked up the laughing baby, kissed his hair, and placed him gently in the mother's arms, as if returning a cup to its shelf. He bowed to the girl and her parents and said, "Is that so?" And that was the end of it. Quickly, the news spread through the town. People realized they had judged him wrongly. Doors that had slammed shut opened again. People apologized with baskets of fruit and kind words. Hakuin accepted the gifts and the apologies. He put the fruit on the table and went back to sweeping his floor. This story has been shared for centuries because it shows how the loudest thing we can do is sometimes say nothing. The truth doesn't always need a lawyer. Your peace might be stronger than their storm. But how can we do that? How can we hold on to our truth without defending it, proving it, or seeking revenge? We start by going back to what's real and nearby. The aroma of fresh coffee, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the sound of laughter. These anchors bring us back to the present moment. In times of trouble, we get lost in the future, imagining worst-case scenarios. We conjure up images of failure, humiliation, loss. But when we focus on the here and now, we calm our racing hearts. We find solace in the simplicity of existence. We speak once, clearly. When rumors fly, the urge to defend ourselves is strong. We want to shout, "It's not true," but every word adds fuel to the fire. Each explanation gives the rumor more life. So we must be cautious with our words. One clear statement is enough. No need to over-explain. As Hokowin showed us, a single "is that so?" can carry a universe of meaning. Let time do the talking. When the truth does surface, we should accept it without fanfare. Don't gloat or keep score. Simply acknowledge it and move forward. This doesn't mean we have to endure injustice. Sometimes we must confront problems head-on. But many times the best response is patience. Time has a way of revealing the truth. Don't rush the process. Trust in the natural order of things. In a world that rewards impulsivity and drowns us in information, stillness is revolutionary. It challenges our deepest fears, the fear of aloneness and the fear of exposure. But in that challenge lies our growth. By embracing stillness, we learn to sit with our vulnerabilities, to understand our own narratives, and in understanding, we find the courage to share our stories without shame. Moral: our strength isn't always in grand gestures or loud defenses. Sometimes it's in the quiet confidence to stay true to ourselves. When you face misunderstandings, don't chase every rumor. Live your truth. Let time reveal its own narrative. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up. The best is yet to come. Thanks for watching. See you next time.